Time for Business with Madison Reedy. Hi, Madison.
Hello.
So you've been able to have a little bit of a nosy around the ANZ's books. What can you tell us?
This is their half-year result. So they released their financial result for the past 6 months this morning. Their net profit after tax for that period was $929 million. Now, while that seems on the face of it like a whopping number, it actually was down 4% on last year's half-year net profit, which was actually $1.2 billion. Their revenue was up, though, 8%, and their expenses were down, which are all good things for any business, but that does include one-off sale gains from selling an insurance business called OnePath Life, and they also in the period sold a 25% stake in the electronic payments provider Paymark. But ANZ's New Zealand Chief Executive David Hisco says a key factor in the softer financial result was the flattening in the housing market that Susanna just mentioned there, and also economic turmoil internationally. So he says this cooling housing market, historically low interest rates, all of those things have upped competition in the mortgage lending market, obviously making their business slightly harder. He's also noted that businesses are more cautious about borrowing money from banks, particularly ANZ at the moment, because of economic figures like tourism numbers being flat. Also, he said exporters are worried about economic uncertainty, things like trade wars internationally. Interestingly, the Australian parent of ANZ Bank, obviously this is the country's largest bank, which is an Australian-owned one, as our largest ones typically are. They did note in their result, the Reserve Bank's proposal to have big banks here significantly increase the amount of capital they hold. They noted that as a major concern. The banks have been pretty quiet about this up until now. The Reserve Bank's consulting process on this does end in a couple of weeks, but obviously they're yet to make a call on that. And I should note too that BNZ Bank, the Bank of New Zealand, also Australian-owned, and Westpac, also Australian-owned, they're reporting later this week and into early next week.
Interesting comparisons. So the other thing that has been released today, unemployment stats. So how are we tracking?
The unemployment rate fell in the quarter, so this is the 3 months to March. It fell to 4.2%. Now that's down from 4.3% last quarter. Now this headline rate was in line with expectations both in the market and by the Reserve Bank, but it is above the government's target of 4% or below 4% target unemployment. That's what they call around maximum sustainable employment. But remember, it did actually dip to that level that they like. It dipped to 3.9% in the September quarter, but that was a bit of a wild card, that result there. So they have been there once before, and we are still trending lower towards that figure. But in the detail of this particular result, the detail was pretty weak. It showed that fewer people in New Zealand are actually participating in work. So the participation rate fell from 70.9% down to 70.4%. So that's about 4,000 jobs that we lost in the economy. Also, particularly women, their unemployment rate rose in the quarter. So it went from 4.2% up to 4.5%. So that's 3,000 more women were unemployed in the 3 months to March. That's compared with 7,000 fewer men.
Don't want to put you on the spot, but do we know anything about underemployed people who want more work hours but can't get access to them?
Statistics New Zealand didn't actually point out any figures in regards to that, but the opposition did make a point about the number of jobs that were lost in the economy over the period. Amy Adams was pretty quick to point that out as a political football. She said the main reason why we've lost some jobs in the economy is because businesses are cautious about hiring at the moment. She said that that's because they're being whacked with costs. So while we didn't necessarily get a figure on the number of people not searching for work, she did point out that we have lost jobs in the economy.
Interesting. And markets, what have they been up to today?
The NZX Top 50 index fell 47 points tonight, so that's about 0.5%. We're back down under that 10,000 point magic mark.
It's like a yo-yo.
It is. I know, up and down all day, every day. It's like I'm sitting on a seesaw. So we closed tonight at 9,966 points this evening. The New Zealand dollar is buying at 66.5 US cents, 94.3 to the Australian, and 51 British pence. We're down against all of our major currency trading partners tonight. That's probably a result from the weaker labour market figures today.
Thanks, Madison. Madison Reedy with your business highlights there.